Hello everyone, Xeno What If here. Bring in part 11 of What If Jackie Chan was in W.I.T.C.H. Link in the description of the fanfiction of this What If. Listen here YouTube. I do not own anything and this is not a scam. Samurai and Guardians. Captain Black sat in his own personal office in Section 13 as he opened a package to find the first Oni mask inside. Whoa. He certainly did not expect to find a package like this, but he also picked up a note from Jackie inside as well, which he read aloud. Captain Black, do not allow anyone to wear this mask. Please lock it in the vault immediately. Uncle, Toru, Caleb, the girls, and I are currently in Tokyo, Japan, where we hope to discover a lead to the location of the next Oni mask. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, the J-Witch gang was inside a warehouse trying to decipher clues from several scrolls, pictures, or old Japanese tablets inside the warehouse. Though most of them appeared to be doing research, Cornelia was among those who appeared the most bored. I can't believe I'm in Tokyo, but I'm stuck here doing research when we could be shopping. The blonde complained. Do you have any idea how many kimonos or dresses I could buy here? We're not on vacation, Cornelia. We'll chastised. We're trying to find information on the Oni. And we just so happen to be in an old warehouse looking through dusty scrolls with a language that we can't even read. Irma questioned irritably. Well, the samurai were the ones who defeated the Oni in the past, we gotta start somewhere. Will said. Any luck, Jackie? Lin asked as he was attempting to read a scroll. Nothing yet. Jackie replied. Oni have often depicted as ancient myths, so it's hard to separate what is really a myth to reality. Caleb, meanwhile, found himself looking at an image of a samurai on the wall. So, these samurai are like knights in Meridian. Sort of. Terani tried to explain. I mean, there are similarities, but the samurai have their own unique code, teachings, and fighting techniques. Well, if there's any left that can help us find where the next Oni masks are, that would be super helpful. Alchemy said. Especially since most of us can't read any of this stuff. I understand why you all feel this way. Jackie said. But the first rule of research is patience. Can you not read faster, Toru? They all heard Uncle complained as the large sumo attempted to decipher a scroll in front of him. Cobwebs are forming on Uncle. My Japanese is rusty, sensei. Toru replied. At this rate, forces of darkness will locate 8 other masks before we leave room. Uncle stated. Hey, if you got an easier way to find these masked things, we're more than happy to hear it. Cornelia told the elder Kai wizard in irritation. Will rolled her eyes slightly at the bickering that they were all used to at this point. However, as she did, she noticed a certain someone was missing from their group. Where's Jade? Everyone, get over here now. They all heard Jade's voice calling them, which immediately put them on alarm as all 10 of them ran to the sound of Jade's voice in another room in the warehouse. Why do research, when you can come on down to the Oni Mask Superstore? She announced dramatically as she directed their attention to a wall filled with dozens of colorful Oni souvenir masks. Toru immediately felt a chill down his spine as Caleb was immediately put on the defensive. I thought you said there were only 9 masks. The young rebel exclaimed. Cool your jets, rebel boy. Irma told him. These are fakes, just souvenirs. Then why do I have a strange, clammy, feeling down my spine? Toru asked, surprising Uncle. You have the willies. Usually a pretty good sign. A familiar voice spoke out as one of the masks changed shape and form to reveal a certain floating demon head that they have all recently become acquainted with. That the king of all Oni is in the house. Tarakudo. Everyone exclaimed as all the girls, Jackie, even Caleb, felt a simultaneous shiver down their spines. Hello everybody, nice to see you all again. Tarakudo greeted casually as he floated toward the entranceway where Daolong Wang and Cedric, in his humanoid form, walked in. Oh, and by the way, Prince Phobos sends his regards. So those two are working together. Terani exclaimed as the group of heroes readied themselves while Will had already pulled out the heart of Kandrakar. Guardians unite. In another flash transformation, Will, Irma, Terani, Cornelia, and Lin had transformed into their respective guardians forms as Witch. Flashy. Tarakudo commented as Cedric had transformed into his massive humanoid snake form while Daolong Wang had summoned his dark Kai enforcers. Gon, Ren, Kui, Finn, Ratso, and Chao had appeared on the scene as well. Fetch the mask, minions. Wang ordered his warriors. Which mask? Ratso asked, considering there was well over several dozen. The demonic one. Cedric hissed before he lunged at the heroes immediately, forcing them to scatter to avoid a devastating punch to the floor. As the fight began, Will had grabbed both Alchemy and Jade and flew them to a samurai armor set in the far corner of the room before setting them down. Stay here, you two. She told them before flying back into the fight. Will flew and delivered a flying kick to Cedric's face, though he was quick to recover and smack her back. Jackie, in response, ran up and leapt from a set of armor to land a roundhouse kick to Cedric's chest, knocking him back slightly as Cornelia backed them up by using her powers to pry several wooden boards from the floor and telekinetically smacking them over Cedric's body. This, however, only seemed to irritate the shapeshifter as he roared and swatted his massive hands to knock back the boards before Will and Jackie went on the offensive with their respective martial arts skills. At the same time, Terani threw a series of fireballs at Daolan Wang, who erected a barrier of dark Kai magic to protect himself before waving his staff to send a series of dark magic bolts at her. Fortunately, Terani was able to avoid them as she flew higher, which gave Irma an opening to send a column of water straight at Wang, who teleported himself out of the way just in time, only to reappear behind both Irma and Terani and zap them in the back with his dark Kai magic. Meanwhile, the Dark Kai enforcers were essentially looking for a needle in a haystack as they each took off one mask at a time and place it on their own faces, only to find out that mask was a fake. That's not it. No. Nah, not this one. That's not it, either. I don't think so. Heilin flew in as she blew a gust of wind from her mouth to knock down most of the masks and scatter them across the floor, making it that much more difficult for the enforcers. However, she didn't have much time to celebrate as she was blasted back by a telekinetic pulse from Tarakudo, sending her crashing in front of Caleb, who was able to catch Heilin before she hit the wall. As the king of Oni loomed over them, Caleb spotted a katana from the set of samurai armor he was closest to and drew the Japanese sword as he stood alongside Heilin to face the floating demon head. Quickly, Toru, Uncle instructed as the pair sat down away from the fights in the far corner of the room. We must devise locator spell so we may find mask before they do. As the pair got to work, Will, Cornelia, and Jackie seemed to be an evenly matched fight with Cedric, with Irma and Terani being on the defensive from Daolan Wang themselves. Yet, as Heilin and Caleb attempted to fight Tarakudo, it seemed he was merely playing with the pair as he casually dodged the respective air blasts and sword strikes. Get back, now! Caleb exclaimed as he tried to slice the katana at Tarakudo. Easy, you can chop someone's head off with that. The Oni King joked with a grin. Heilin sent a gust of wind, which Tarakudo easily avoided before her eyes widened slightly. Oh, I get it. 'Cause you're a floating head. She snickered. Okay, that is pretty funny. Finally, someone who appreciates humor. Tarakudo commented before sending another telekinetic blast to knock back both her and Caleb. He then directed his attention to the Dark Kai enforcers who were still looking for the correct mask in the pile of souvenir masks on the ground. What are you doing? He questioned. Looking for the mask. Finn said as though it were obvious. Try this fellow. Tarakudo said before he shifted his form to take the appearance of a thin purple mask with bright purple eyes and two curved horns at the top. Everyone in the room then set their eyes on the actual mask in question, which was still hanging from the wall. Will and Cornelia were among the first to fly and try to get it, but Cedric quickly grabbed them both and threw them away as he tried to slither his way toward it. However, Jackie quickly jumped to land on Cedric's shoulders and use him as a springboard to leap toward the mask. Unfortunately, Daolan Wang had already ensnared it with his dark magic, causing Jackie to land face first on the wall and slide down. Daolan Wang smiled evilly as he held the purple Oni mask in his hands. Heilin, Terani, Irma, and Caleb tried to rush in and take it from him, but Tarakudo had unleashed another powerful psychic wave to blast them back. I wonder what dreaded tribe of Shadoken will be at my command. Let us find out. Daolan Wang sneered as he tried to place the mask on his face, only for Alchemy to run up and grab him from behind. I don't think so. She struggled to hold onto Wang who attempted to shake her off. Jade. Now. Hiya. Jade came in to deliver a flying kick to Daolan Wang's side, knocking him down and forcing him to drop the mask, only for it to land right onto Ratso's face, much to everyone's shock. Oopies. Jade winced. Just like with Frost before, the purple Oni mask had merged with Ratso's face and wrapped around his whole head. But that wasn't the only change, as his glowing blue marks on his body from a dark Kai warrior had turned pitch black as both dark powers merged together before the newly transformed Ratso stood up. Whoa, even Ratso was surprised at his newfound power he felt flowing through him. So, wait, now he's a dark Kai warrior and an Oni demon. Will questioned in confusion. Man, talk about an evil-on-evil sandwich. Irma commented. Meanwhile, Toru was still in the middle of making his locator spell, only for Uncle to deliver a dope slap. Ow. Too late for locator spell, we need mask removal spell. Uncle stated as he drew a katana from a set of samurai armor, they just so happened to be near. Good thing, Japanese steel ingredient, very handy this time. Oh man, Oni Ratso looked at himself with an excited smile. I feel like summoning Shadoken. Tarakudo hinted toward him. Yeah, Oni Ratso was already on board, but one problem, he had no idea how to do it. So, do I just yell for them or what? You must feel the power, Ratso. Tarakudo instructed. Call upon the darkness within. Oh, okay, I got it. Oni Ratso said as he tried to do just that, only for Jackie to try and grab him from behind. No feeling, no calling. Jackie tried to stop him, only for Oni Ratso to grab him by the shirt and throw him away with little effort at all. Caleb tried to catch Jackie as he flew, only for both of them to crash into the wall on impact. Will, Irma, Heilin, Cornelia, and Terani tried to fly in and blast their respective elements at Ratso in a desperate attempt to stop him, but Daolan Wang had already erected a dome of dark magic around Ratso to protect him from the attack as Finn, Chow, and Cedric stood in front of the Guardians to stop their approach. Why not even the odds a little bit? Cedric hinted to Oni Ratso. Let's say, one Shadoken for every Guardian here. Oni Ratso only smirked as he tried to do his Tarakudo, and Cedric told him. Come on Shadoken. He concentrated as everyone directed their attention to 5 shadow spots on the ground as 5 identical figures emerged from the ground to present themselves to the heroes and villains around. They were definitely Shadoken, but nothing like the ones they've seen before. They were much thinner, with pointed heads, and each one had a single red V-shaped eye. They had pointed legs as well, but what stood out the most were their hands that each had a set of 5 giant razor-sharp blades, which glistened in the light. Whoa, Jade gulped as all the heroes looked nothing short of stunned. That's different, Cornelia commented. Though the villains were surprised as well, they were more impressed and intrigued than anything else. Most impressive, Daolan Wang said with a sneer. Sweet, Chow commented. Go, Ratso. Finn nodded in approval. 9 masks, 9 different tribes of Shadoken. Tarakudo said as they all got a good look at this new Shadoken. Uncle, how is your mask removal spell coming? Jackie asked anxiously as Toru dipped the katana into the cauldron and was already glowing green with magic. All done, Uncle stated as Toru wielded the sword and pointed it at Oni Ratso, only for the glow to vanish almost instantly. Nothing's happening. Why isn't anything happening? Caleb questioned. The sword did not work, Sensei. Toru said in alarm. It must be wrong ingredient. Uncle stated as he came to a sudden realization. Each mask must require a unique removal spell. Well, what do we need to remove this mask? Will questioned the Kai wizard, only to receive a dope slap to her forehead. Ow. Toru is Japanese expert, that is his department. Uncle criticized. Everyone looked at Toru, expectantly, only for the large sumo to shrug, indicating he had no idea what to do at the moment. Ahem. Tarakudo cleared his throat aloud to get the villain's attention, specifically Oni Ratso as he motioned for him to move. Oh, right. Oni Ratso said before turning to his quintet of Shadoken minions. Make Papa proud. The new Shadoken brandished their claws as they went on the attack. You guys hit him high, I'll hit him low. Jade stated, only for Jackie to push her away as one Shadoken went directly at him, prompting Will to fly in an assist, while the remaining 4 went after Cornelia, Heilin, Irma, and Terani respectively. Heilin tried to blast a torrent of wind at the Shadoken she was facing, only for it to leap and crawl on the ceiling with its claws and spiked legs. Once it was over her, it let itself fall down to slice at her, but she was able to push herself back with a gust of wind and avoid the claw strike that hit the ground. These Razor Kahn are a lot tougher than the normal Shadoken, Lin stated. Razor Kahn. Irma questioned as she sent a stream of water at the one Razor Kahn facing her, but it ducked underneath the water streak, while also slicing at it with its claws to halt the attack as it rushed Irma before she flew into the air to join Lin. You know, because they got razor-sharp claws. Lin said. Razor, Shadoken, Razor Kahn. Okay, I get it. Irma said irritably as they flew back down to engage the two Razor Kahn they were previously fighting. Terraini tried to throw a series of fireballs at an individual Razor Kahn, but it easily sliced through the flames with its claws before leaping at her to slice at Terraini. Though she ducked under the slice, she fell back on her rear to avoid the kick from the pointed foot that would have pierced her face before flying back to avoid the relentless slashes from her enemy. Cornelia tried the same approach she did with Cedric as she used her powers to raise wooden floorboards from the ground and throw them at the charging Razor Kahn, but it easily sliced the boards to reduce them to splinters in seconds before trying to move in and slash Cornelia. Fortunately, Caleb came to her defense with his katana to block the slice before swinging and parrying the sword against the claws of the Razor Kahn. Jackie was backed against the wall and swiftly dodged the impaling strike from the fifth Razor Kahn. Will quickly flew in to back him up with a solid kick to its chest, though it slid back slightly, its pointed feet embedded in the ground to stabilize itself before leaping at Will to slice at her. Acting on instinct, she brandished the heart just as the claws made contact, resulting in a pink flare to burst from the jewel, blasting her and the Razor Kahn back. However, the Razor Kahn appeared to recover first as it attempted to rush Will, but Jackie leapt in front of it to divert its attention as he was forced on the defensive from its relentless slashes. The villains, meanwhile, continued to watch with smirks on their faces. Just 5 of these new Shadoken alone are a handful for the Guardians, Chan, and their allies. Cedric mused evilly. Just imagine what the remaining 7 tribes are capable of. Wong sneered. Come, then, let us seek more masks. Tarakudo instructed as he, Cedric, Daolan Wong, Finn, and Chao made their leave. While Ratso summons more Shadoken. Oni Ratso chuckled eagerly. The more, the scarier. He began to concentrate as he attempted to summon more of his new minions. Irma and Lin found themselves literally cornered against 2 Razor Kahn as they desperately combined their powers to create a miniature storm in their hands before unleashing the powerful attack, which the 2 Razor Kahn were unable to avoid. The attack was successful in blasting back and destroying the pair. It worked, Irma said in genuine surprise before a smile formed. We can take these things down. Hey guys. Lin called to her friends who were still in the middle of their own fights. These Razor Kahn go poof like normal Shadoken. Just hit them real hard. Yeah, easier said than done though. Cornelia exclaimed as she flew in to help Caleb, who was on the defensive with his katana against the relentless claw slashes of one Razor Kahn. She concentrated her powers on the floor underneath the Razor Kahn before suddenly opening them up like a springboard to knock it into the air before it fell back down, where Caleb ran up to impale it with his katana, resulting in it poofing. Terraini didn't have as much luck however against her Razor Kahn opponent. No matter what kind of fire attack she unleashed, her enemy could either slice through it or fan it away with its claws, or simply leap up and climb on the wall to avoid it. It leapt down from the side wall to slash and knock her down. The Razor Kahn was ready to finish her, but before it could. Oh, Mr. Ninja. Uncle called to get the Razor Khan's attention as he aimed his blowfish at it. Eat Kai magic. He scored a direct hit of Kai blast on the Razor Khan's chest. Though it knocked it back, it didn't destroy it like the previous Shadoken. Why didn't anything happen? Terraini questioned in surprise. Uncle's regular magic does not work on these new Shadoken. Uncle stated, sounding just as surprised as Terraini. We must devise new stun spell. Fortunately, they wouldn't have to right away. Just as the Razor Kahn was about to re-engage Terraini in battle, a blade had pierced through its chest from behind, destroy it instantly. The culprit being Jade. Guess he got the point. She smirked. However, Will and Jackie had found themselves cornered against the final Razor Kahn opponent. However, before it could make a fatal move, or any of their friends could come in and help, they all turned around in surprise to see a set of samurai armor moving on its own. It drew its katana to challenge and face the Razor Kahn, who in turn, leapt up to slash at the mysterious enemy. When the Razor Kahn landed behind, the armor fell apart to reveal it was none other than alchemy in the armor, despite her size. Jackie, Will, Terani, Uncle, Toru, Cornelia, Irma, Haylin, Caleb, and even Jade's jaws dropped in complete and total shock. Alchemy chuckled nervously as the Razor Kahn looked directly at her. "Sayonara," she said to it as she attempted to run, only for the Razor Kahn to try and leap at her. Fortunately, Haylin had already come in to blow it back with a blast of air while it was still airborne, sending it to Caleb, who sliced with his katana to destroy it. "Darkness within, darkness within, darkness within," Oni Ratso chanted as he attempted to summon more Razor Kahn, but he was suddenly grabbed and tackled by Will and Toru as they each used their respective strength to try and stop him. However, he merely flexed his arms to knock both of them off as his own unnatural strength as a Dark Kai warrior was further enhanced by the power of the Oni mask he was wearing. But that didn't stop Terani, Haylin, and Irma from flying in and unleashing a powerful attack that combined their respective elements to trap Oni Ratso in a vortex of fire, wind, and water. "I don't even think this is gonna stop him," Terani exclaimed. "We need to fall back and regroup," Caleb stated. "Come up with a new plan to get that mask off." "Agreed, come on," Jackie said as he, Caleb, Cornelia, Jade, Uncle, and Alchemy were about to make a run for it, with Will helping Toru back on his feet to join them. However, they didn't get very far as Irma, Haylin, and Terani were all sent flying back towards the wall, courtesy of Oni Ratso, who held his massive mallet he wields as a Dark Kai warrior, only for the aura to change from blue to black as he smiled evilly at the group. "Uh-oh." Jade winced. Boom. Asterisk. A large black shockwave was seen from the upper level of the outside of the building as all 11 heroes were sent flying and falling toward the street below. However, the 5 guardians were able to stabilize themselves as they tried to move in and grab their falling friends. Will caught Uncle, Terani was able to catch Jackie, Irma caught Caleb, and Haylin grabbed Jade and Alchemy. Cornelia attempted to fly and catch Toru, but he proved too heavy as she only altered his fall path as they both fell into a nearby stand on the street filled with raw fish. "Ew, ew, ew, ew." Cornelia shivered as she and Toru tried to pull themselves out, both covered in raw fish. "I hate fish." Toru winced, feeling the same way. Despite that, they were able to regroup with the rest of their friends and escape just as Oni Ratso looked out the hole in the wall he made with his attack. "Hey." He looked around to see everyone had vanished from sight. Where'd everybody go? Meanwhile, on a separate rooftop, Daolan Wang had used a dark orb to observe the fight along with Cedric, Finn, and Chao. The Guardians and Chan, forced to retreat, from only a handful of these new Shadoken. Cedric hissed with a sadistic smile. "I can only wait in joyous anticipation as our new minions literally rip the rebellion to shreds." And, there are 7 more masks, each with their own unique tribe of Shadoken. Wang was just as elated as his comrade. "So much power, Prince Phobos will be most pleased. A job well done, boys," Tarakudo told the group of villains as he hovered over them. "For our next trick," suddenly, Tarakudo's entire body, which was only his head, had shivered, much to the surprise of the villains. "Whoa, are you alright?" Chao asked. "What is it, Big Kahuna?" Finn also asked. "I think I have the willies," Tarakudo replied, sounding just as surprised himself. Meanwhile, the heroes have all regrouped in their hotel room, with the Guardians having turned back into their human forms as Jackie prepared dinner, already chopping an onion. "Well, that was a total bust." Cornelia sulked as she sat on a bed. "Don't sugarcoat it, we got our asses handed to us," Irma stated. "How are we supposed to fight these Razor Kahn if we don't know how to take off that stupid mask? And if each of the other masks have their own unique removal spell," Will said as a dreadful realization set in. "The odds of us actually winning this thing are pretty low. The Oni have to have some kind of weakness," Caleb stated, unwilling to give up. "They were beaten before. If we figure out how those ancient samurai did it, we can do it too." "Well, if you got any ideas, we're all ears," Alchemy said before she noticed the sheathed katana on his back. "Hey, isn't that the same sword from the warehouse?" "Yeah, I like it," Caleb said as he glanced with a small smirk at the katana that he had now taken for himself. "How's your research coming?" Cornelia asked Terani and Toru as they were each on a laptop and scroll respectively. I'm not really getting anything. Terani said in annoyance as she scrolled the internet. Whenever I try to look up anything Oni related, I always get something from anime or an ancient myth that I can't even read. What about you, Toru? I think I might have found something. Toru said, getting everyone's attention. Toru used a magnifying glass to try and decipher the kanji. The scroll speaks of the legendary Hanafuda, an ancient deck of cards. My mother told me of these cards when I was young. Uncle however seemed skeptical. More fairy tales, cards not important. You said the Oni were fairy tales, and you were wrong about that. Cornelia criticized. But how can a deck of cards help us fight these Oni monsters? Caleb questioned, sounding somewhat skeptical himself. The legend indicates that the cards are magic and may point the way to the remaining Oni masks. Toru answered. Does it say anything about us actually beating the Oni? Will asked. Not sure, I haven't read the entire scroll yet. Toru answered. Well, it's better than nothing. Hey Lin said. So where are we gonna find these cards? However, Uncle remained firm in his skepticism. I am telling you all, cards not important. Suddenly, Toru felt a chill down his spine, something they all noticed. Toru. Jackie asked. Let me guess, your old pal, Willie. Jade asked as well. The entire room became quiet as everyone had a good idea what Toru getting the Willies meant. Toru was the first to glance at a framed drawing of an ancient Japanese warrior on the wall, with everyone else following his gaze to look at it. They all gasped as they saw the eyes on the picture move. Suddenly, the face on the picture shifted and changed to reveal Tarakudo himself as he entered the room, much to everyone's fright as they stood up on instinct. So, hoping to find the Hanafuda cards. Well, I can't let you do that. Tarakudo then began to use his powers to shake up the entire room as though it were hit by a sudden earthquake. Looks like it's not all fairy tales after all. Irma said, casting a glare to the shocked uncle. Okay, maybe cards important, Uncle admitted. Yeah, about you just shut up now about anything Oni related from now on. Cornelia told him as the entire apartment continued to shake from Tarakudo's power. As the group backed against the wall, Toru glanced back at the counter to see the half-chopped onion Jackie was previously working on. Will tried to reach and grab the heart of Kandrakar to fight as Caleb was reaching for his katana, but Toru was already at the front as he brandished the onion. Back, he told the floating demon head. An onion. Caleb, Heylin, Terani, and Cornelia all questioned at the same time. What are you gonna do, make him cry? Irma asked sarcastically. Yes, do not be foolish Toru. Uncle also said, use garlic. He's a demon, not a vampire. Alchemy said, don't you use salt for demons. However, the apartment suddenly stopped shaking as Tarakudo actually looked nervous. Whoa, easy with that veggie, big fella. Toru then threw the onion at Tarakudo's face. The second it made contact, the demon closed his eyes in pain as green energy poured out of them like tears. Ah, my eyes. My eyes. Wait, he really is crying. Irma asked as everyone looked nothing short of stunned at what just happened. It does work, Toru said in genuine surprise as well. I think it is checkout time. Jackie urged as the entire group left the room while Tarakudo continued to holler and cry in pain. Okay, how exactly does a vegetable hurt a floating demonic head? Caleb questioned as the group of heroes were already outside. Mommy always told me onions keep the Oni away. Toru answered. I used to sleep with one under my pillow. So it really is like garlic for vampires. Heylin said with a smile. Instant Oni repellent. Will smirked as she and everyone else gave Toru literal congratulatory pats on the back. You the man, T. You the man. Jade praised. The only one who wasn't praising appeared to be Uncle as he stopped briefly. Yes, he is. He admitted with a tone that mixed pride and sadness. The best thing about making your own team of ninjas, is making enough for 2 teams. Oni Ratso said excitedly as he had summoned enough Razor Kahn for a game of baseball on the rooftop he was on. He held a bat at the ready as a Razor Kahn pitched the ball, which Oni Ratso hit and sent flying for at least a mile. Ooh, high fly. On the side, Finn and Chow watched with smirks as this was unsurprising of their friend, though Wong and Cedric both looked unamused. He wields the power to summon his own army of powerful soldiers who will serve your every whim, and he uses it to play these childish games. Cedric hissed in disapproval. Oh, ball boy. Oni Ratso called to Cedric specifically, and this only served to anger the shapeshifter even further as he loomed over Oni Ratso. "You listen to me, you worthless fool," Cedric warned, in his giant humanoid snake form. "I am a lord of Meridian. I am the right hand to Prince Phobos. My name strikes fear into the heart of the rebellion." He looked at Oni Ratso right into his eyes. "You do not order me." Suddenly, most of the Razor Kahn leapt and surrounded him, many already brandishing their claws threateningly at the shapeshifter, much to his surprise. "You don't want to spoil our fun, do you, Cedric?" Oni Ratso warned, his voice becoming deeper and sounding more demonic. This tone was enough to make Cedric sweat a bit as he looked more than a little nervous. Even Finn and Chow were somewhat surprised by this. Big D, why does Ratso sound so scary?" Finn asked Daolon Wang. "The Oni mask contains the spirit of the original Oni demon inside," Wang explained. "More than likely, it is already corrupting Ratso to turn him into a near duplicate of that very same demon." Both Chow and Finn looked to each other with concern, not liking the idea of their friend being turned into a demon. Ratso. Everyone looked up to see Tarakudo appear out of thin air to address Oni Ratso in particular. "Gather your shadow minions. You must see to it that Mr. Chan and the young guardians fail to acquire a certain deck of cards." Oni Ratso held his bat in dark anticipation. Let the games begin. The group of heroes were already in Tokyo's underground subway station, waiting for a specific train as Toru relayed instructions that he read from the scroll. "We must take the train to Matsu," Toru explained. "The Hanafuda cards are housed in an ancient shrine there. Legend indicates that the cards contain the spells which originally defeated the Oni. Looks like we found their weakness," Irma said with a smirk. A train had arrived at the tracks behind them, with Uncle turning around to enter it as the doors opened up. "Oh, Uncle, that is not our train," Jackie told him. "It is mine," Uncle said as he turned around to face the group. "Uncle must go to airport, now." That took all of them by surprise. "What? Will?" and Jackie both questioned as Toru, Irma, Terani, Heilin, and Alchemy all gave surprised gasps. "Huh." Even Caleb seemed somewhat confused. "All right, bye-bye." Cornelia smiled as she was already waving goodbye. "Have a safe flight." She was quick to receive an elbow to the side from Jade. "Ow. Uncle, why?" Jade asked. "Being away from shop for so long makes me nervous." He tried, but nobody seemed to buy it. "Uncle," Jackie said, wanting him to give an honest answer. Uncle sighed. "I am only getting in your way." Toru has knowledge of Japanese legends, which Uncle does not. Toru gets willies from Oni, which Uncle does not. Toru knows tricks with vegetables, which Uncle does. "Please Sensei, I require your guidance," Toru pleaded. "Yeah, so what if you don't know anything about the Oni? You can still fight," Terani told him. "I offer you all my confidence," Uncle assured with a smile as he turned around to walk into the train. "Uncle, wait." He heard Heilin call to him from behind, but when he turned back around, he was caught off guard by Heilin giving him a surprise hug. Uncle gave a small hug back before pulling away and looking at Heilin with a smile. "You are truly Yan Lin's granddaughter." He smiled as he ruffled her hair slightly before walking into the train. "Jade, Alchemy, you two should go with Uncle," Jackie told the two girls. "Ah." Jade groaned as she and Alchemy appeared to walk toward the train just as the doors closed. Uncle gave a final wave to everyone, which they all responded with a wave of their own before the train departed. "I miss him already," Alchemy said, revealing that neither she, nor Jade, have gotten onto the train. "Jade, Alchemy," Jackie chastised. "I told you to go with Uncle. Not stay with." He soon realized that he didn't specify which uncle. "Uncle." He smacked his forehead. Jade gave a slight tisk. "No wonder I got confused, too many uncles. And I don't have any uncles, so," Alchemy added with a shrug. Most of the girls seemed amused, though Will noticed a smile on Cornelia's face, resulting in her scowling. "Geez Cornelia, try not to cry too much." "What? It wasn't like he was actually helpful on this whole trip," Cornelia replied. "He was wrong about Tarakudo being an Oni, he was wrong about the Shadoken being Japanese, and he was wrong about those Hanafuda cards. But he's still a kick-ass wizard," Irma stated, "even if he is crabby grouchy most of the time. I'm gonna have to agree with Cornelia on this." Caleb said, much to most of the group's surprise. Don't get me wrong, he is a capable fighter, I've seen that. But, like both he and Cornelia have said, his skills and resources don't seem to apply the Oni that much. That's not to say he can't contribute at all. He's just unable to for this specific mission. In the rebellion, if someone can't contribute to the mission, we send them back to base until they're ready. Well, when you put it like that, I guess it does make sense. Terani admitted. We'll notice a light coming from the end of the tunnel. Hey, I think our train's here. All aboard. They all looked on the other side of the track in shock to see Oni Ratso waiting for them. The Shadoken Express. Jade quickly reached into her pocket to pull out an onion. Gonna make you cry, demon boy. She threw the onion at him, only for Oni Ratso to catch and eat it with no issue at all. Yummy. Everyone looked in surprise before looking to Toru for an explanation. Ratso is still part Dark Kai warrior, which isn't vulnerable to onions, and he also happens to like them. He said, sounding rather unsure himself. Fortunately, a fight would not have to break out as the train had already arrived for the heroes. Quick, inside, Jackie said, the second the doors opened. The whole J-Witch crew wasted no time in entering the train. Oni Ratso attempted to open the doors on the other end, but they wouldn't budge, and he didn't even get the chance to smash his way in as the train was already moving, forcing him to let go as it already rode deep into the tunnels. Darkness within. Darkness within. Darkness within. Darkness within, Oni Ratso chanted as he summoned a single Razor Kahn minion. You have a train to catch. He told the Razor Kahn as it ran into the tunnel at incredible speeds to catch it. Back in the train, the heroes had already sat down in the back car when Alchemy noticed the Razor Kahn catching up with them. Guys, we got company. Everyone looked in alarm as the Razor Kahn leapt up to the train, landing upside down, using his pointed feet to pierce the hull and hang on as it used its claws to try and pry the door open. Here's Connie, Irma chuckled nervously as the Razor Kahn had entered the car. Will, time to guardian up. Cornelia urged as they backed away from the approaching enemy. We can't, Will stated. The car's too narrow. If we used our powers, we could tear the whole train apart. Then Caleb and I will handle this. Jackie said as he and Caleb were at the front, the young rebel already drawing his katana as he slashed and hacked at the Razor Kahn, who ducked and used its claws to block and parry each strike. Jackie stuck to Caleb's side as the young rebel used his sword similar to a shield's purpose to block the Razor Khan's strikes, while Jackie attacked with a series of kicks. However, the Razor Khan attempted a kick of its own, forcing Jackie and Caleb to separate to the car's sides as the Razor Khan attempted to pierce Caleb with his claws, but he ducked underneath the strike as Jackie had already leapt to the ceiling and dropped down to deliver a kick to its chest to get it to slide back. By the time the Razor Khan had recovered, both Jackie and Caleb had leapt into the air to deliver a flying double kick combo move to send it flying back out through the door and out of the car. At least that was their intent, but the Razor Khan had used its claws on the ceiling to keep itself from flying out. The Razor Khan attempted to climb its way back in, but Toru brandished a blowfish and shot a Kai blast to send it flying out of the train. Everyone looked to Toru with surprise. Uncle told me to devise a new stun spell, so I did. Toru said as he rubbed the back of his head. See, Toru. Cornelia told him, you got this. We can handle this just fine with you. Though they were all grateful for Toru's aid and can see that he has improved, most didn't miss the subtle hint Cornelia laid in her message that implied they can handle this just fine without Uncle. After arriving at Matsu, Toru had led the group to their destination. This is it. Only their destination was not a shrine, but rather a car factory. This is a shrine, Caleb questioned. If it was, it is a factory now. Jackie replied. Guess that's the price to pay for being in modern times. Terani commented. So what? We're at a dead end. Irma asked. Wait, Toru got another look at the scroll as he saw a familiar symbol on it as well as the building. This kanji meaning, Hanafuda, is also the factory logo. Inside the factory, although all the employees had gone home for the evening, the president of the company continued to work in his personal office when he heard someone calling for assistance outside. Hello. Is anyone here? Will called as she and all her friends walked inside the factory. The president of the company walked out to greet them. Oh, you do not worry here. No, Sorry to barge in like this. Lin apologized. Maybe you can help us, sir. Jackie said. We're looking for some cards. Toru said. Hanafuda cards. The president asked as he pointed past the glass walls of his office to reveal a set of framed cards, with each card having the Hanafuda kanji written on the back. Those would be the ones. Jade confirmed. Uncle continued to ride silently in the train heading toward the airport when he felt an odd vibration in his pocket. He reached inside to look in surprise to see a cell phone vibrating in his hands, the caller ID on the screen reading, Grandma. With confusion and hesitance at first, Uncle answered. Hello. Hello Jin. Uncle's eyes widened in surprise. Yan Lin. How did you call me? And why do I have portable phone? Lin texted me with Jade's phone. Yan Lin explained. She said she gave you her cell phone before you left. The elder Kai wizard looked in a state of surprised realization, remembering when Lin hugged him before they left. That must have been when she slipped her cell phone into his pocket. Uncle chuckled slightly. She is more like you than I could have anticipated. He heard Yan Lin's laugh on the other line before she spoke. But enough of that, Lin said you left and are planning on coming back home. Uncle sighed. I am only getting in their way. Toru possess knowledge of Oni, which I do not. That doesn't mean you aren't able to help or contribute. Yan Lin told him. Jin, you are an amazing martial artist and an exceptional wizard. And this wouldn't be the first time. Remember everything back when we rolled with Cassidy and the others in our youth. You may not have used any magic back then, but you always learned from your experiences and tried new methods. You contributed and even proved capable of saving not just each of our lives, but the lives of many others. I don't believe these situations are any different. Uncle couldn't help but reminisce all the time he spent with Yan Lin and her team of guardians in their youth. Those were some fond memories, even if he didn't get along with Kadma or even her. If you truly wish to leave and return home, I won't stop you. Yan Lin continued. Just be certain that it's really what you want, Jin. Even if you don't know much about the Oni, that doesn't mean you can't help them. They might even need you. Uncle smiled at this assurance. Yan Lin, thank you. Always happy to help, she replied. One more thing, Uncle began. How are you convincing girls' parents while they are in Tokyo? Never underestimate the craftiness of a grandma. Yan Lin answered. That and I might have also slipped a Kai spell into their drinks. Don't worry, nothing harmful. Think like the Jedi mind trick, they all just think they're spending the weekend at your place. I do not know Jedi mind trick. Uncle quickly said. But I do know to trust you, so again, thank you. He hung up the phone before walking toward the front car. Conductor. Whole train over. Back in the factory, the president of the car company handed the framed set of cards to Toru as he finished telling his story to the heroes. Thus, the cards were handed down from my ancestors. As you can see, I based my company logo on the Hanafuda kanji. He showed them the logo on his silk tie. So, why are you so interested in my family's deck of cards? You wouldn't happen to be familiar with the Oni, would you? Terani asked. Of course, the president answered. My grandmother would read me stories when I was a child. Why? Some very dangerous Oni demons, along with other monsters, want to steal your cards. Caleb said bluntly. Most of the girls, including Jackie, all winced as Irma pinched the bridge of her nose. 3, 2, 1. The president responded with a laugh as though they had just told him a joke. Oni are not real. They are stuff of children's tale. Suddenly, he gave a frightened gasp. What is it? Jackie asked urgently. That girl, her shadow. He pointed to alchemy as her shadow began to move and grow in size, causing everyone to look in alarm. Uh-oh, alchemy said in fright as a razor Kahn emerged from her shadow. The president backed away in fear, only to end up backing into Oni Ratso who glared down at him. Hiya! Oni! The president screamed as he ran away and passed the group, only to bump literally into the razor Kahn, who slashed his claws to sever the president's silk tie just to intimidate him even further, and it worked as he screamed. Take the cards. They are yours. He screamed as he ran out of the building. Hand them over. Oni Ratso demanded. Toru handed the frame to Jackie as he took Jade and alchemy and walked away, while the girls and Caleb stuck close to Jackie, who handed the frame to Oni Ratso. Here you go. Oh, gee thanks. Oni Ratso said, only to see the cards were no longer in the frame. Hey. Sorry. We will not return them. Thank you. Jackie called as he, Caleb, and the girls all tried to run away. Oni Ratso slammed the frame onto the ground. Get those cards. In less than a second, all 7 of the present heroes found themselves completely surrounded by more than 24 Razor Kahn. Jackie made a combat stance as Caleb drew his katana sword, and Will took out the heart of Kandrakar. Guardians unite. As the fight began outside, Toru, Jade, and Alchemy hid in the president's office. He fell for it. Alchemy whispered with a smirk. The old fake handoff never fails. Jade smirked as well. A mask removal spell is the only way to stop Ratso's Razor Kahn for good. Toru said as he placed the cards on the floor and spread them out, only to reveal that they were blank. They're all blank. Alchemy questioned in surprise. Did the scroll say anything about how to play? Jade asked Toru. No. The sumo answered. Then we need to figure out how to play. Fast. Jade stated. Cornelia pressed her hand on the ground to shake up the floor as 4 Razor Kahn attempted to approach her. We're on solid ground. You guys are on my turf, now. She said as 4 large roots shot from the ground straight at the Razor Kahn. The front 2 were destroyed on impact, but the 2 in the back used their claws to slice through the roots before leaping up to try and leap down with their spiked feet onto Cornelia, who flew into the air as she pulled some of the ground up with her in the form of 2 large rocks, which she threw at the Razor Kahn to crush them. But she didn't have time to celebrate as 2 more climbed up the wall to leap and slice at her. Irma shot a condensed stream of water, putting extra pressure on her attack as she condensed it even further. The stream had impacted and destroyed the frontmost Razor Kahn, but 3 more tried to leap and slice at her, forcing her back before one delivered a slicking kick with its foot to send her crashing back onto the controls, where she accidentally pulled down on a lever to start up the factory. As the machines got to work on putting together the cars in the factory line, Terani got an idea as she saw one of the lasers operate. She quickly flew to said laser and channeled as much of her heat energy into it to shoot a condensed beam of fire from the laser machine, blasting and destroying 6 Shadoken at once as she continued to turn her makeshift weapon. But her winning streak wouldn't last for long as 1 Razor Kahn leapt from behind to use its claws and destroy the device, sending Terani crashing to the ground before she shot a fireball on instinct to blast a Razor Kahn that was on top of her before flying back into the air. Caleb was forced onto the factory line as he stood with his katana on a moving and incomplete car to slice and parry the strikes from 2 Razor Kahn. He noticed the top of the car coming down as he got an idea and jumped backwards just as the top was brought down to destroy the 2 Razor Kahn before climbing up to the top, only to be put on the defensive as 3 more enemies surrounded him. Heilin tried to create a powerful whirlwind to blast back 5 approaching Razor Kahn, but they all dug in their claws and feet to keep themselves from being blown away. Heilin looked in irritation, until she spotted a nearby toolbox, which she used to levitate with her wind powers from one hand before throwing it at the group of Razor Kahn. The tools all spilled out as they hit and destroyed 1 Razor Kahn, but her attempt had also split her focus and lightened her attack, allowing the remaining 4 to get close and slice at her with their claws and feet, knocking Heilin into a car that had just brought its top down. She gave a brief sigh of relief, thinking she was safe, only to be proven dead wrong as she was stuck avoiding all the blades that pierced through the top. Jackie back-flipped onto the conveyor belt, with 3 Razor Kahn following him. He leapt onto 1 incomplete car, timing it just right as the 3 pursuing Razor Kahn leapt onto the car, only to be destroyed as the top was brought down. Bye-bye. Drive safely. Jackie told them, only to find 2 Razor Kahn blocking his path. Will had pulled off a car door and used her strength to wield it like a blunt weapon to destroy 1 Razor Kahn before seeing the situation Jackie was in and flew to provide aid. Hey, Will called to the 2 Razor Kahn. Watch the door dings. She slammed the car door onto the face of 1 Razor Kahn to destroy it, only to then use it like a shield to block the claw strikes from the second one. But this gave Jackie an opportunity to deliver a kick to the Razor Kahn into the path of a laser on the factory line, destroying it. We're getting nowhere fast, Will told Jackie as they came back to back with 6 more Razor Kahn appearing to surround them. Let's hope Toru figures out how to stop these things. Meanwhile, Toru, Jade, and Alchemy did their best to play or rearrange the cards in whatever pattern they could think of. But none of the methods they tried so far have produced any results. Looks like blackjack doesn't work, Alchemy said. What about gin rummy? Toru suggested. Let's try. Crazy eights. Jade lined up 3 cards as they suddenly began to glow. Whoa, look. The first card on the left showed an image of the mask they were currently fighting for. It's showing us the mask. But we already know that part, Toru said. The second card showed an image of the mosque's location. This one is showing us where to find, or where we found it, Alchemy said. Which means the last one has to show us the mask removal ingredient. This was indeed true, as the third card showed them an image of silk being pulled out of a roll, which Toru recognized. Japanese silk. You mean, like in a kimono? Jade said. Where can we find a kimono at this time of? Toru was interrupted by a faint growling coming from behind as the trio turned around in surprise to see Oni Ratso looming over them. Game over. Toru was then literally kicked out of the office, while Jackie, the Guardians, and Caleb were stuck fighting off the seemingly endless Razor Kahn to help. Leave him alone, you bully. Jade exclaimed as she climbed onto Oni Ratso and tried to pry the mask off herself, with Alchemy pulling on Oni Ratso's back in a vain effort to stop him as well. Toru didn't invite me to play cards, Oni Ratso said as he summoned a ring of Razor Kahn to surround him. You can play my favorite. Go fish. Toru brandished his blowfish and prepared to fire a Kai blast, but a Razor Kahn emerged from the shadow underneath him to knock Toru over, forcing him to drop his blowfish as it rolled across the ground. Toru would have run to collect it, only for the blowfish to stop at the feet of a familiar old man, who picked it up and connected it to his own blowfish to replicate the stun spell. Hello. Uncle greeted. Uncle. Jade and Hei-Lin both exclaimed with wide smiles as everyone looked in surprise to see that Uncle Jin-chan had returned. All the Razor Kahn in the factory ran and charged at Uncle, who wielded both blowfish like a pair of dual pistols and shot at each of the Razor Kahn. Each hit was a bullseye that destroyed the struck Razor Kahn with a single blast before Uncle leapt back to shoot and destroy 2 that attempted to leap up at him from the air. He quickly got up to zap another that tried to attack him from the side before Uncle ran along the factory line to shoot and destroy all the remaining Razor Kahn with precise shots before he rolled and took a finishing stance with the smoking blowfish in his hands. Very good stun spell, Uncle commented, resulting in Toru crying tears of joy at that praise. Okay, I gotta admit, that was pretty badass, Cornelia admitted with an impressed smirk, shared by everybody else who were glad to have Uncle back. Yeah, Oni Ratso challenged. Well, I got more ninja bad boys where they came from. He tried to summon more, but Will quickly flew in to tackle Oni Ratso to the ground. I don't think so. She tried to pin Oni Ratso to the ground, only for him to effortlessly lift her into the air and throw her hard to the wall. He wouldn't get the time to recover and summon more Razor Kahn, however, as Jackie, Irma, Cornelia, Caleb, and Terani flew or ran to attack him directly. Uncle. You're back. Jade didn't hesitate to run and hug the Elder Kai wizard, followed by Hei-Lin to join the hug as he embraced both of them at once. Toru and Alchemy walked up with smiles of their own. Hei-Lin, I believe this is yours. Uncle handed back her cell phone as Uncle gave her a wink, prompting her to smile even more. Thank you, Grandma. You gave him your cell phone? Alchemy asked Hei-Lin in confusion. Cell phone not important now. Uncle got back to the situation at hand. Did you discover ingredient for mask removal spell? Japanese silk. Toru hopped. Uncle had that clothing on him, but that didn't prove to be the case. Blended wool and polyester. He referred to his vest and shirt respectively. Uncle does not wear clothes of movie star or male model. Hey, what about a president of a car company? Alchemy presented the severed tie that belonged to the company's president that still held the Hanafuda kanji on it. Oni Ratso wielded his massive mallet as he swung it to bat the blasts of fire, streams of water, and rocks, shot at him by Terani, Hei-Lin, and Cornelia respectively as they flew around him to keep their distance. Caleb attempted to run and slice his katana at him from behind, but Oni Ratso leapt high into the air to avoid the strike before falling and bringing down his mallet onto the ground to create a small tremor and send Caleb and Jackie flying to the wall. Will tried to grab him from behind, but Oni Ratso easily pried her off with his double unnaturally enhanced strength and held her by the throat in one hand as Irma, Terani, and Cornelia tried to fly in and help her, but Oni Ratso used his mallet in his other hand to smack and knock all three of them away with one strike before he pinned Will to a girder and tried to strangle her with his bare hands. Nukuru, Himen Jaaku. Will glanced to her side as she saw Uncle, Toru, Jade, Alchemy, and even Hei Lin chanting the spell as Toru held the silk tie in his hands that was already glowing green. Nukuru, Himen Jaaku. Nukuru, Himen Jaaku. Nukuru, Himen Jaaku. A beam of green magic shot from the tie, straight for Will's hands, which began to glow with a green aura as well. This surprised Oni Ratso enough for him to loosen his grip around Will's neck, allowing her to kick him back to get him to let her go completely. She then grabbed his mask and tried to pry it off. Oni Ratso tried to push against her as he was much stronger, but Will wasn't alone as Jackie and Cornelia came to Will's sides and tried to pull with her, while Caleb, Terani, and Hei Lin held onto Oni Ratso from behind and pulled back on him. With a final shove, Will pulled back both her feet and slammed them into Oni Ratso's chest to add force as she pulled with all her might to finally wrench the mask free from Ratso's face. "We got it," Will exclaimed with joy as she held the mask in her hands, much to everyone's relief and joy as most of them all cheered and shouted, "Yes," sharing high fives, fist pumps, and even some hugs in the case of Cornelia and Caleb. Ratso, now returned to a normal Dark Kai warrior, groaned as he tried to pull himself up. "I was having the weirdest dream." Suddenly, an unknown force lifted him in the air telekinetically and pulled him away from the factory. Back in Tokyo, Cedric and Daolon Wong waited on the same rooftop, while Finn and Chao just tossed a baseball back and forth to each other right before Ratso was pulled by the invisible force onto the roof. He pulled himself up to shake the cobwebs before noticing the baseball in his friend's hands. Ooh, my turn at bat." Tarakudo suddenly appeared from behind him, looking less than pleased. "It would appear Chan and the Guardians possess the cards, since you no longer possess horns." "Ooh, yeah," Ratso winced as he felt his forehead, indicating he longer wore an Oni mask. "Heh, he chuckled nervously. The heroes had finally arrived back home in Heatherfield, specifically in Section 13, where they already placed the purple Oni mask on the wall in the vault next to the first one that they got in Hong Kong. 2 down, 7 to go. Jackie said as all of them, including Yan Lin, were present. "Those are some handsome devils right there," Yan Lin commented. "No pun intended. Let's just hope that we actually keep them from anyone's faces," Will said. "Well, anyone up for some slapjack?" Jade offered. "But what's to keep Tarakudo from entering this vault to get the masks himself?" Caleb asked, seeing how he can pop up pretty much anywhere. "Oh, you don't have to worry about that," Hei Lin began. Tarakudo gave a yell as he flew down from the sky and attempted to phase through the walls outside of Section 13, only to slam right into an invisible barrier that caused his eyes to wince as green energy poured out of them like tears. "Ah, my eyes, my eyes," Tarakudo cried out as he vanished from sight. "Oni magic cannot defeat onion magic." Hei Lin finished with an uncle impression as she held an onion in her hand. "A little trick I learned from my apprentice." Uncle smiled approvingly to Toru as everyone else gave him smiles and nods, resulting in Toru smiling as well and blushing at all their praise. "Walk this way." It was a rainy and stormy night in Meridian as Lurdans and soldiers under Phobos rule worked on a massive wooden crane with a large spike being slowly risen. This was a primitive, yet very large and imposing drill. As the Lurdans and soldiers worked, Caleb and a team of rebels laid in hiding underneath the grass, ready to attack at a moment's notice. "So Phobos' latest weapon is what? An overgrown gardening tool?" Caleb questioned sarcastically. "He's looking for tunnels going underneath the Meridian plains and into the castle." Drake, Caleb's fellow rebel and friend, answered. "We don't have any tunnels, Drake." "I wish we did," Caleb replied. "But if he digs deep enough." "I know." Caleb already knew what his comrade was implying. "He can break through into the Infinite City." "Is everyone ready?" "We're all set and ready to move in," Drake replied. "And everyone has at least one onion?" Caleb asked. "Yes, but I'm still unsure how an onion of all things is supposed to ward off a floating demon head," Drake said, sounding unsure as he took out an onion from his pocket. "Don't ask me," Caleb stated. "I gave up trying to understand magic a long time ago. But we're still ready nonetheless," Drake said. "What's our signal?" However, before Caleb could respond, Blanc, who had just stolen some trinkets and trash from the castle, tripped as he tried to run past the rebels, causing him to drop and spill his stolen goods, causing a commotion that got the Lurdans' attention and blew their cover. Not what Caleb think. Blanc quickly tried to make an excuse. Blanc just doing metal laundry. Looks like that's our signal, Caleb stated as they heard the alarming roars of the Lurdan hordes. Caleb drew his katana, as the rebels all drew their respective weapons as well and led the charge on the Lurdans and enemy soldiers. They clashed swords, spears, knives, and axes against shields, clubs, other swords and similar weapons. Despite many of the rebels appearing rather young, they were able to hold their own in the fight rather well. All save for Blanc, who tried to run and find cover back at the castle of all places. Meanwhile, at the outer wall of the castle, Cedric, in his human form, observed the fighting but didn't seem remotely concerned about it. He wasn't alone, however, as a certain floating demon head phased through the stone wall behind him to observe the battle. So, this is the rebellion that has been giving you and Phobos trouble this past decade? Tarakudo asked. Indeed, Cedric confirmed. They've been quite bothersome, even more so since their affiliation with Chan and the Guardians. Perhaps I should test their strength myself. Tarakudo mused, indicating he was looking forward to a fight. That won't be necessary, Tarakudo. I have something better in mind. Cedric smiled evilly as he snapped his fingers, allowing a Lurdan to walk forward and bring him a chest. Cedric opened to reveal a golden, curved, horn-like instrument. Back on the battlefield, Caleb had climbed onto the drill's platform and drawn his katana to block and parry the axe strike from one Lurdan before delivering a kick to knock the Lurdan down into the water below. A second Lurdan tried to impale him with his spear, but Caleb swerved to the side and gave a downward slice to not only cut through the spear but send the Lurdan sliding off the ledge. Caleb took the moment to look at his new weapon. Swift and light, yet sharp and powerful with enough force, he smiled. The samurai sure knew how to make good weapons. However, this left him vulnerable for a third Lurdan to hit him from behind with a club and send him falling into the water below. The second Caleb sank into the water, Cedric had already blown into the horn, while Tarakudo watched with interest. Though Caleb was unable to hear the sound due to being underwater, the second the rebel soldiers and Lurdans all heard it, they instantly stopped fighting. When Caleb emerged from the water, he was beyond shocked at what he saw. What? Both the Lurdans and his fellow rebels were in a trance-zombie-like state. Their eyes had grown dull, and they had just stood there, as if nothing in this world mattered to any of them. Impressive, Tarakudo noted as he saw Cedric put the horn away. However, neither of them noticed Blanc hiding around the corner behind them as he saw the horn as well. Ooh, pretty horn for Blanc. Earth, Heatherfield. Will rode on her bike when she happened to pass by Matt's house as she heard some music coming from his garage. This was enough for her to stop and listen to the music. As she got off her bike, she walked closer and tried to listen more through the closed garage door, smiling and tapping her foot to the rhythm as she felt her own heart pounding with it. Before she knew it, she was already dancing to the rhythm. However, she wasn't expecting the garage door to open, causing her to stumble as the music stopped. Matt looked in surprise, clearly not expecting to see her. Oh, Matt. She tried to hide her blush. Sorry, I was just passing through, she stuttered while also showing her bike. I heard you guys playing and well, sorry. Matt still smiled. Didn't know we had an audience. No worries. This caused Will some kind of relief, though she felt a tad embarrassed. So, you guys done with practice? Matt winced slightly. Nah. One of us had a burrito for lunch, extra beans. He looked to the drummer, who just smiled innocently. Okay, Will backed away, feeling that was a bit TMI. So, you got a gig going on soon? Yeah, we're playing at the school Friday night. Matt said. You wanna go with me? Will's smile instantly brightened. Yes. Heck yes. She quickly faked a cough and tried to act cool. I mean, sure, yeah. See ya there. Yeah, see ya. Matt closed the garage once the air was cleared. With the door closed, Will couldn't resist raising both her fists into the air. Looks like you're set for that dance, huh? A certain black-haired girl observed with crossed arms and a smirk behind Will. Oh, big time, Jade. Will's eyes suddenly widened before turning to the girl. Jade. Hi Will. She waved causally. But how? Will stopped her stammering once she remembered just who her friend was. You just love doing that, don't you? Hey, it's my thing. Jade shrugged nonchalantly. Uncle's rare finds. Within the back of the shop, Jackie and Uncle tried to work with the Hanafuda cards so they could find information on the next Oni mask. They tried to rearrange it in the way Toru had described it for them as he tried to decipher more of the legend that they had procured from Shendu's palace. Nothing. Jackie said as this was the 5th attempt, they tried to rearrange the cards. Still no sign of the next Oni mask. Perhaps the mask itself must be revealed first. Or, the spirit trapped within the mask has a choice over it. Uncle mused. Anything from the legend, Toru? Jackie asked. No. Toru said as he put the magnifying glass down. It depicts the defeat of Tarakudo's generals, but it only contains instructions on how the first mask was made. Jackie took a look at the large tablet himself. These ridges imply that this tablet is only a piece to something bigger. Perhaps Shendu only obtained information on the first Oni mask because he only sought to wield the power of one tribe of Shadoken. Uncle theorized. Why only one? Why not wield them all? Jackie asked. If he wanted to rule the earth, all 9 tribes of Shadoken could cover the planet in eternal darkness, right? Shendu likely assumed that doing so could risk the return of the Oni. Uncle continued. He must have destroyed to prevent that happening, as we have seen that Tarakudo could have the power to even rival Shendu himself. Which means, the Hanafuda cards are the only edge we have in our battle against Tarakudo. Toru said. And seeing how Tarakudo is now working with Phobos, they clearly have the advantage. Jackie said with a reluctant sigh. Why can't fighting the forces of darkness ever be simple? If it were so simple, forces of darkness could never be real threat. Uncle stated as though it were obvious. Suddenly, they heard the shop's bell ring as the trio went into the main room to see Caleb, clearly out of breath as he leaned his hands against the front desk, appearing to have run all the way here. Caleb, what are you doing here? Where are the girls? Caleb asked, trying to catch his breath. We have a problem. Silver Dragon. Okay, exact words, Will. Terani said as she, Jade, Irma, Cornelia, Heylin, and Alchemy sat at the same table as their leader. You wanna go with me? She repeated Matt's words with a wide smile. As an eyewitness, I can confirm that myself. Jade said. Date. Definitely, a date. Heylin immediately said with the other girls voicing their agreements as well. Will, meanwhile, had a love-struck smile as the image of Matt playing the guitar was all she could think about right now. I cannot believe Will has a date to the dance, and I don't. Cornelia said in an annoyed tone. Cause maybe you're too high maintenance. Jade joked. Burn. Irma chuckled as she and Jade shared a high five while Cornelia glared at the pair. Don't worry, Cornelia. Alchemy tried to console her friend. I'm sure you'll find a guy who'd love to go with you. Almost directly on cue, the door to the restaurant opened as Jackie, Uncle, Toru, and Caleb at the restaurant. Girls, we have a situation, Jackie said, getting all their attention. Oh yes we do. Cornelia smirked as she stood up and walked toward a certain young rebel. Dance this Friday, but I don't have a date. She cast a glance at Caleb. Oh, if there was only a certain rebel who would be willing to ask, ow. Now is not time to worry about silly dance. Uncle chastised Cornelia after dope slapping her. What's going on? Will asked, already getting serious and focused on the situation. Somehow, Caleb's friends in the rebellion are being controlled and forced to work for Phobos. Toru explained, surprising the girls. What? How the heck did that happen? Heylin asked. I don't know. Caleb answered. They just stopped fighting. All the Lurdans and guards stopped too. They all just stood there, staring, until Cedric gave them a command. To do what? Terani asked. From what Caleb told us, Phobos has been working to construct a drill mechanism that could potentially breach the rebels' base in the Infinite City. Jackie answered. Why would they need a drill for that when old Mr. Oni King can literally pop up anywhere? Irma asked. I had Toru and Uncle here make an anti-Oni onion spell at the Infinite City's entrance to keep Tarakudo from entering. Caleb answered. We've already begun stocking up on onions as well just in case. Way to think ahead. Alchemy noted. Getting back to the issue, did maybe Tarakudo brainwash the rebels into helping Cedric? Will asked. No, it wasn't him. Yan Lin soon walked onto the scene. From the sound of it, it would seem that the rebels and Lurdans have become trance-marchers. Simply put, something similar to zombies. Only they don't eat living flesh, unless ordered to. Ew. Too much information. Jade winced. Is there a way to snap them out of it? Caleb asked. That is a question I'm afraid only the mage can answer. Yan Lin replied. Who's the mage? Alchemy asked. An old lady who knows how magic works. Jade gave a brief summation. Alright. Jackie already began to relay instructions. The girls, Toru, and I will work to take care of that drill before Phobos can use it. Uncle, take Jade, Caleb, and Alchemy to see the mage and find out how we can stop these trance-marchers. Everyone nodded in agreement with Jackie's plan as Will had already taken out the heart of Kandrakar. Meanwhile, outside the restaurant, Blanc was already making himself at home in the restaurant's dumpster, taking out the many treasures he stole from Phobos' cast, particularly a certain golden horn he stole from the castle as well. Ooh yeah. Blanc admired his own reflection in the horn. Pretty passling. Why you not date more? Ow. The passling felt a smack on his forehead, courtesy of Uncle. Passling stopped playing with garbage. Uncle chastised as he, Caleb, Jade, and Alchemy were already present. Come on Blanc, mission time. Jade told him. Blanc rather boogie down. The passling blew into the horn to play a tune, but Caleb had pulled him away, and swiped the horn for him. Secret mission. Caleb told him. No clown horns allowed. He threw the horn into the dumpster. Let's go. We gotta see this mage person. Alchemy tried to run down one direction, but quickly stopped and turned to the others with a nervous smile. How do we get there? Jade snickered in amusement, while Uncle and Caleb both sighed and shook their heads as they walked forward to lead the way, with Blanc following them. However, none of them noticed a police officer, who appeared to be in the middle of writing a ticket, was in a trance-like state, now a trance-marcher from hearing the sound from the horn that Blanc just blew. Meridian, while in guardian form, Will carried Jackie, while Irma and Terani both carried Toru, as they, along with Haylin and Cornelia flew toward the massive drill that the trans-marcher rebels and Lurdans were working on. Down there, Will spotted the drill. But with the rebels under Cedric's control, we can't afford for you girls to use your powers recklessly without hurting them. Jackie said. So, we clear them out before we demolish it. Toru told them. How do we do that? Haylin asked. I've got an idea. Cornelia was the first to fly toward the ground before slamming her fists onto the ground, sending a tremor directly toward the drill to shake up the area and halt the construction process. Many of the trance-marchers were knocked off the higher platform. But Irma used her power over water to create several water plums to break their fall. Everybody into the pool. Stop. Stop building. Jackie tried to get to the trace marchers on the ground that had already gotten up and resumed their work as if nothing happened. Please stop. Jackie tried to block their path, or literally shake them away, but the trance marchers ignored him. I don't think it's working. Haylin said as she flew closer to Jackie. Maybe whatever Cedric did to them, makes them do only what he tells them to. Then we'll simply have to carry them to a safe distance. Toru already had his arms full of 6 trance marchers and attempted to carry them away. Terani also did the same as she pulled one girl into the air as well. However, this drew the attention of Cedric, who stood on the castle wall as he oversaw the construction. Trace marchers, resist them. Immediately, the trance marchers went on the attack. All the ones Toru was carrying struggled in his grip and kicked and screamed, literally clawing at his face like wild animals, forcing him to drop them. Others picked up the construction tools they had been using and used them as makeshift weapons to attack the others, particularly Jackie, as he couldn't fly to avoid them. However, Jackie picked up a random plank and used it as a makeshift weapon to not only block the trance marcher attacks, but even swipe them off their feet. Sorry. He apologized before blocking and defending himself once more. Sorry. He apologized over and over as he was forced to knock them down for his own defense. Sorry. Sorry. I will make it up to you all later, thank you. It wasn't just Jackie in trouble. The girl trance marcher she had been carrying had clawed at her and pulled on her hair, causing the bespectacled guardian to crash toward the ground, directly underneath the massive spike. Release the spike, Cedric ordered, intending on crushing not only Terani but also the trance marcher he was willing to sacrifice. The spike was dropped and sent falling toward Terani and the trance marcher holding her down. However, Toru was quick to run in and catch the spike, using nothing more than his own strength. Though he was able to hold it and prevent it from seriously injuring Terani, it was rather heavy, and he couldn't hold it much longer, emphasis by his groaning and sweating. Hang on Big T, I gotcha. Lin flew in and sent a powerful burst of wind toward the spike to blow it away from Toru, Terani, and the resisting trance marcher, whom Toru quickly grabbed and pulled off Terani before running away with her. Jackie, Will, and Irma had also used the trace marcher's resistant command to their advantage, lure them away from the drill. Once they were far enough away, Jackie called out to the one person who could finish the job. Cornelia, the people are safe and away. Destroy the drill. On it, Cornelia replied as she hovered above the drill. She spun her hands to control the ground underneath the drill, weakening it, and causing it to collapse and take the drill with it. Once it was done, Will and Irma quickly picked up Jackie and flew away from the pursuing trance marchers. They, along with Cornelia, would fly to meet up with Toru and Terani a bit further away as the latter kept the struggling female trance marcher in a tight bear hug. Hello, anybody home? Will waved her hand in front of the trance marcher's face, but her only response was an animalistic scream and a snarl. Can you use some kind of spell to undo this? Irma asked Toru. Without knowing the source of this, not even a full-fledged Kai wizard can break the trance, let alone a simple apprentice like myself. Toru replied. Then let us hope Uncle and the others have learned more about this from the mage. Jackie said. We'll head back to Heatherfield and wait for them at the shop. Toru put the trance marcher down, allowing Cornelia and Lin to pick him up as they flew away with Irma, Terani, and Will, who carried Jackie with her. Phobos, throne room. Cedric and a random Lurden, who carried a certain chest, had bowed before Phobos, who sat in his throne, with Daolan Wang standing on the right side of the throne, and Tarakudo himself floated on Phobos' left. So, it would seem Cedric's little trance marcher scheme was faulty. Wang sneered. Wouldn't you agree, my prince? He asked Phobos directly, who seemed less than pleased to learn the drill was destroyed. It was only a temporary setback, Prince Phobos. Cedric said, while casting a glare in Wang's direction. Nothing that can't be fixed with a few more trance marchers. He stood up, along with the Lurden carrying the chest. However, once Cedric opened it up, he discovered the box was empty. You didn't tell me your horn could turn invisible. Tarakudo remarked in dry humor as he saw the empty chest. Cedric, however, did not share the humor. The horn of Hypnos is gone, he exclaimed before he transformed into his massive serpent form and angrily crushed the chest in his hands. The thief will rue his miscalculation. Phobos seemed less than pleased as well. If the horn of Hypnos falls into the hands of someone in the rebellion, or even with Chan and the Guardians, they could turn our entire army into trance marchers and turn them against us. He stood up from his throne. Cedric, Daolan Wang, find the horn, do whatever it takes. Yes, my prince, they both said at the same time as Wang waved his scepter, causing him and Cedric to be engulfed in dark blue smoke before vanishing into thin air. Phobos sighed as he sat back in his throne to rub the bridge between his eyes. I swear, it always feels like we take one step forward and two steps back. Perhaps I should have destroyed the horn of Hypnos once I found it and avoid such a mess altogether. Still, I can see where something like that can be useful. Tarakudo commented. To turn your enemies into allies is a good idea and can achieve excellent results if properly executed. When the enemy can easily do the same thing, it seems more like a liability than anything else. Phobos remarked. But what if said method can't be mimicked? Tarakudo mused, getting Phobos' attention. What if there was a way to turn an enemy into an ally? A powerful one at that. What exactly are you getting at, Tarakudo? Phobos asked. What if I were to tell you, I could turn a certain someone over to our side? Tarakudo offered with a knowing smile. Someone, who if turned, can strike our enemies where it hurts the most, their hearts. Phobos had an intrigued smile on his face. I'm listening. Meanwhile, in the Infinite City, Uncle, Jade, Alchemy, Caleb, and Blanc stood before the mage, who had just walked out of the waterfall to address them as they have just told her everything they know about the rebels becoming trance marchers. What you have described is the effect of the horn of Hypnos. The mage told them. She say, horn. Blanc asked nervously. When pointed at its victim, the horn's tone creates a trance marcher. The mage explained. Guys. Blanc tried to get their attention. SSSHH, quiet Blanc. Caleb told the passling. Can a trance marcher share sensitive information? Uncle asked the mage. No. The mage replied. When turned into a trance marcher, the victim's mind becomes a blank. They are unable to share deep secrets with the one controlling them. Which means they won't tell Phobos and company about the Infinite City. Jade said, much to Caleb's relief. However, while they cannot reveal any secrets, they will obey whoever blows the horn and do anything and everything they ask, even at the cost of their own lives. The mage said. In the wrong hands, it is a dangerous weapon. Can we reverse it? Caleb asked. The mage's response was creating the image of a harp and playing a magical tone with it. This melody breaks the spell, but you must find the horn and destroy it. About horn, Blanc laughed nervously. Funny story, but it didn't seem anyone was paying attention. Hold on. Jade pulled out her phone and set it to record. Can you play the sound again? The mage did so and played the melody once more, which Jade was able to successfully record. Got it. Uncle can make protective Kai spell with this. Uncle said, ruffling his great niece's hair. Excellent work, Jade. Aw, shucks. Jade tried to act modest. So, how do we destroy this horn thing? Alchemy asked. Please don't tell me it can only be destroyed in a volcano or something like that. The horn can be destroyed by any normal method. The mage replied as Blanc tried to get their attention still. Blanc knows something about horn. However, Caleb held him back. What does it look like? The young rebel asked. The mage's reply was to create a magical projection of a familiar-looking horn that they all recognized. Wait a minute. Caleb threw horn in trash. Him. Blanc pointed to the young rebel, whom Uncle was quick to dope slap. Ow. Caleb rubbed his forehead. Well, actually this is good for us. Jade said, getting their attention. We know where the horn is, and Phobos doesn't have it. We just gotta get to Earth, smash it with a sledgehammer, and bing bang boom, we win. Yeah, Alchemy winced. Except today is, garbage day. They empty the dumpsters today. Iya, Uncle exclaimed. Earth. Silver Dragon. Lin was taking the trash to the dumpster, while everyone else had gone home, as per Jackie's request while he and Toru waited at Uncle's shop for Caleb's group to return. Ooh, I'm gonna be so grounded if I can't explain where I was this afternoon. Study group with Uncle Jackie. Lin muttered to herself as she threw the trash bag into the dumpster. However, as she did, she noticed the horn of Hypnos inside. She reached inside to pick the horn out, not knowing what it was. Weird, looks brand new. She gave a gasp of realization as she found a good excuse. I was at my whatever this thing is lesson. 'Cause, I'm joining the school band. That's good. She blew the horn herself to get a tune out of it. However, her father happened to hear the tune inside the kitchen as he was cleaning the dishes, turning him into a trance marcher just as Lin peeked in. Dad, sorry I was late today, but I really want to go to the dance Friday. Plus, I kinda wanna meet my friends tonight so. As you wish, her trance marcher father said robotically. Really? Lin asked excitedly, not noticing the blank look on his face. Get out of here. As you wish, he repeated, taking it literally as he walked out of the kitchen, with Lin right behind him just as Principal Knickerbocker entered the restaurant. Good evening Chen, table for one please. Knickerbocker requested. Hi Principal Knickerbocker. Lin told her before whispering to her unresponsive father. Dad, wake up, she urged before addressing Knickerbocker herself. Why don't you take the table by the window? However, the trance marcher dad, literally did just that. As you wish. He walked over to a random table and put it by the window. He's been under a lot of cooking stress. Lin told her principal, even though she wasn't sure what was going on with him either. Well, I'm outie. Oh, and I'd like to donate this to the school band. Lin gave the horn of Hypnos to her principal. Bye Dad. Don't wait up for me. Of course, her trance marcher father took it literally as he fell to the floor. Uncle's rare finds. Jade played the recorded harmony on her phone again as Uncle and Toru got to work on preparing the spell. Uncle, can you really reverse the spell of this horn of Hypnos? Jackie asked. No, Uncle can only cast protective spell from horn. Uncle stated. To break spell already cast on trance marchers, the horn must be destroyed. He said as he began to mix spell ingredients together in a small cauldron. And you said Blunk stole the horn, but Caleb accidentally threw it out. Toru asked. Yeah, Jade confirmed. Well, at least the bad guys don't have it, so, that's good, right? It could still fall into someone's hands and put innocent people in danger if they don't know how to use it, Jade. Jackie said. I already told Captain Black, and he is having Section 13 search all the city's dumps for this horn. Caleb and Blunk choose to stay behind in Meridian, to alert rebels who have not become trance marchers to remain in hiding till the spell is broken. Uncle informed as he and Toru continued to work. We should have a spell prepared by tomorrow. Toru said, but we've never made a spell from a sound before. I will send a text to let the girls all know. Jackie pulled out his phone. Well then let's just hope we can get this done soon. Jade said. Dance is tomorrow, and I don't want the forces of darkness to spoil the party. Meridian, the next day. Alright, so everyone is staying hiding until the horn is destroyed. Caleb said as he and Blunk walked up the hill towards the portal. Can't believe you actually stole it from under Phobos' nose. Blunk do good. The pasling said proudly. Keep horn away from bad guys. But you also threw it out. Caleb glared slightly. And when we got back, the trash was already taken to the dump. Caleb throw horn in trash. Not Blunk. Blunk exclaimed. The rebel rolled his eyes. Well, at least they have Section 13 looking for the horn. Well, what a coinkydink. Both looked up in surprise to see the Dark Kai warrior, Finn, standing on top of a rock, looking down onto the pair. We're looking for a horn too. He said as Ratso and Chow, in their respective Dark Kai warrior forms, jumped and landed behind the pair. But it didn't stop with them. Cedric, Daolan Wang, and all the trance marcher rebels appeared on the hilltop. Ah, bad guys. Run. Blunk screamed as he and Caleb turned around to run toward the portal. After them, Cedric ordered as he, Wang, the Dark Kai enforcers, and trance marcher rebels gave pursuit. However, the small army were too late to stop Caleb and Blunk from reaching the portal and jumping into it. Marchers, wait. The shapeshifter stopped the trance marchers from pursuing any further. Daolan Wang, you and your warriors go scout the other side. Wang snarled at the shapeshifter. I do not see why when you were the one who lost the horn of Hypnos. You will go through the portal, or I will have the trance marchers rip you and your warriors limb from limb. Cedric hissed as he and Wang glared at each other. However, the enforcers were quick to break it up. Okay, don't worry Big C. We got it covered. Finn said. Yeah, no need for any mutilating this week. Chow also said as they nervously pulled Wang away. We'll be right back. Ratso also said. Earth, Heatherfield. The portal appeared to be in an abandoned warehouse in the middle of a dump as Wang and his Dark Kai enforcers left the portal to see Caleb and Blunk already a considerable distance away. Wang observed the terrain of the dump. They will come back to close the portal eventually. He turned to the enforcers. Go back and tell Cedric to bring the trance marchers here. I have a plan. Sheffield Institute. Martin, who was part of the school's marching band, blew the horn of Hypnos, thinking it was a normal instrument, not noticing he just turned his bandmates into trance marchers. This thing's great, he said excitedly as he looked at the horn. Just wish we could practice marching, too. The trance marchers did as Martin ordered, and began to march off the football field. Wait up. He tried to catch up them, only for one trance marcher to literally stop as Martin ran into him, slamming his face into the trombone in the process. Uncle's rare finds. My agents have scoured through all the city's landfills. Captain Black informed Jackie and Toru as Uncle continued to work with the spell. No sign of this horn thing. Then where can it be? Jackie wondered as Caleb and Blunk suddenly ran inside. Cedric and Daolan Wang have all the trance marcher rebels under their control. Caleb said as he and Blunk tried to catch their breaths. Don't worry, they didn't follow us here. How's that spell coming? Hold your horses. Magic cannot be rushed. Uncle chastised as he poured an elixir into the cauldron. Making a spell based off a sound is a lot more difficult than it looks, but it should be ready within an hour or two. Toru said. Caleb, is the portal still open? Jackie asked. Yeah, Caleb nodded. Meaning Cedric and Wong will try to come through with their trance marchers to look for the Horn of Hypnos themselves. Even if they have to tear apart the entire city to do it. Jackie said. Not on my watch, Captain Black stated. Hold on, they're my friends and comrades. Caleb quickly said. You can't hurt them. I'm not planning on it. Captain Black replied. They might be hypnotized, but all their bodies still function normally, right? That includes their heart and lungs. Yeah, still have to breathe. Caleb confirmed. Why? Captain Black gave a knowing smirk. I've got an idea. Sheffield Institute. Meanwhile, Will, Jade, Irma, Haylin, Terani, Cornelia, and Alchemy all hung out at the main gate outside the building. Big news. Terani announced to her friends. I kinda, almost, nearly have a date. That's great. Will replied, happy for her friend. Who's the kinda, almost, nearly, lucky guy? Almost on K, the group heard a whistle in Terani's direction. They turned around to see the guy in question, whom Will recognized as someone from Matt's band at the base who waved at Terani before walking away. Nigel finally figured out he likes me. Didn't he hang out with that Uriah guy? Jade asked. Looks like he grew a brain and ditched those idiots. Alchemy replied. And with Caleb kinda, almost, nearly going out with Cornelia, it just leaves me, Irma, Alchemy, and Jade without dates. Haylin said. Not interested. Jade shrugged. Why? Cause your last boyfriend turned into a demon. Cornelia asked. First, we never actually dated. Jade replied. Second, he didn't turn into a demon, he already was one, just disguised as a boy. And third, I'm just not interested in dating. Yeah, I'm not looking for anyone right now either. Alchemy also said. Plus, we all know Irma's gonna go out with Martin later on. Jade joked, Irma to grumble in annoyance. Shut it, Jade. Irma told her. You didn't say, no. Jade still joked, resulting in the other girls laughing. However, the laughing came to an end as the Trance Marcher marching band walked out from the school grounds, marching and playing their instruments really badly as they did. Hey look, the marching band is group ditching school. Irma said. Are they okay? They look kinda spaced out. Alchemy observed. Will got a good look in their eyes. Wait a minute, we've seen this before. Her eyes suddenly widened in realization. They're trance marchers. It's spread to Heatherfield. Jade immediately took out her cell phone and made a call. Uncle Jackie, we have a problem. It was late afternoon as Caleb and Blunk walked through the area where the portal was located. They appeared to walk aimlessly, that is until they came to the center of the junkyard when a massive shadow loomed over them. They looked toward the top of a pile garbage to see the massive form of Cedric, along with Daolon Wong and the dark Kai enforcers glaring down at them. The Horn of Hypnos, if you please. Cedric hissed as all the Trance Marcher rebels appeared and completely surrounded the duo. Blunk screamed and hid behind Caleb's leg, but Caleb himself didn't look all that intimidated. Sorry, we don't have it. Caleb said casually before he smirked. But you know what we do have. A trap. Now. Suddenly, the 5 girls of which, clad in their full guardian forms, all shot out from their hidden spots in the junkyard, along with Jackie and Toru, and even Jade, who appeared to float in midair all by herself. Hey Snake Boy, Jade called to Cedric. What happens when cross a rabbit, with a rooster, and an ox? She questioned as she brandished the rabbit, roster, and even ox talismans in her hand. Answer. One mean punch. She flew directly at Cedric at high speeds and decked a powerful slug across his face, which was enough to send the massive shapeshifter flying out of the junkyard and crashing hard on the street, though he seemed to recover quickly enough. Trance Marchers. Attack. Cedric ordered. Go my warriors. Destroy them all. Wong ordered the Dark Kai enforcers as the trio, along with the Trance Marcher rebels all charged directly for the heroes in the middle, but they seemed prepared even for this as Jackie took out a walkie-talkie. Captain Black. Go. Jackie stated. Suddenly, several armored vehicles appeared from down the street as they surrounded the entire junkyard before they opened up and dozens of Section 13 agents in SWAT uniforms piled out, along with Captain Black, who had Alchemy right next to him. Fire canisters. Captain Black ordered as all his agents had riot guns and opened fire, shooting metallic canisters into the air and into the junkyard. Once they hit the ground, gas shot out of the canisters and began to fill the air around the trans-marcher rebels, causing them to cough and halt their advance. Finn, Ratso, and Chow coughed as well and tried to cover their eyes. "Oh, that really stings." Ratso tried to rub his eyes. "It's tear gas," Finn exclaimed. "Yes, it is." Finn looked in surprise to see Jackie, who had a gas mask on, run in and slam a fist across Finn's face to send him hurtling into a junk pile as Caleb and Toru ran alongside him. Both had gas masks of their own to protect themselves. Even Blanc, who rode on Caleb's shoulder, had his own gas mask. Toru quickly ran to grab Ratso and throw him hard at the downed Finn, causing them both to poof and vanish, while Caleb swung his katana onto the blinded Chow, poofing him as well. The trio then made their way past the disoriented trans-marchers, doing their best not to hurt them, though they had to push and knock them down to get out of the junkyard fast. "Sorry Drake." Caleb apologized as he knocked his friend down. Daolan Wang tried to fan away the gas near him as he stood at the tallest point in the junkyard. "Gas, HMMPH. He didn't seem impressed. "I can remove that easily enough." "Sorry, I don't think so." Will flew down to grab Wang by the shoulders and pull him up into the air before throwing him toward Terani, who launched a volley of fireballs at Wang. Instinctively, the Dark Kai wizard threw up a barrier of dark magic to shield himself, but the blast from Terani's fire was enough to send him crashing right next to the recovering Cedric. Cornelia then flew toward them as she placed her hands on the ground and grew multiple thick plant vines from the ground around the two villains and entangled them. "You set a trap of your own," Daolan Wang exclaimed. "Duh." Jade smirked as she, Will, Cornelia, and Terani hovered in the air with smirks. Cedric hissed in anger. "This will only slow them down. Marchers, attack." "Sorry, but no." Will took out her walkie-talkie and spoke into it. "Captain Black, go." "You heard her, men." Captain Black nodded to his agents. "Fire the second capsules." After loading a new type of capsule into their riot guns, the Section 13 agents fired them into the junkyard as the tear gas began to clear up. The second the canisters hit the ground, with all the trans-marcher rebels condensed in the middle, a different type of gas began to fill the air. Seeing that as their signal, Heilin and Irma both flew into the air as Irma shot her hands forward to spread out a water wave around the junkyard, while also manipulating the water's shape to take the form of a dome that kept the gas and trans-marchers trapped inside before Heilin inhaled to blow a blast of cold air to freeze the dome solid. Jade flew in with her 3 current talismans and used her enhanced strength to punch a couple of holes in the top and let it air out. By the time she regrouped with the witch girls in the air, the ice dome had aired out from the gas as all the trans-marchers inside appeared to be knocked unconscious. Despite being restrained along with Daolan Wang, Cedric was unwilling to give up. "Trans-marchers, stand." However, they didn't even respond and continued to lay unconscious. "I said stand." "Sorry, they can't hear you," Caleb said as he, Jackie, Toru, and Blanc walked towards the restrained villains, having removed their gas masks. "Kinda hard to hear anyone when you're knocked out cold." "Anesthetic gas," Jackie explained. "It induces a coma-like state, deeper than even sleep. Those rebels won't be waking up for a few hours at least. The horn of Hypnos might affect a person's mind, but it doesn't control the rest of their bodies," Toru stated with crossed arms. In no time at all, not only had the Chan clan, guardians, and their friends regrouped, but all the Section 13 agents had surrounded the bound duo with different types of guns, the ones with laser pointers, as both Cedric and Wang had red lasers pointed all over their bodies. "Those riot guns fire gas containers," Black said to the villains as he approached them with crossed arms. "These ones however shoot lethal ammunition, and the safeties are off. So, do you two wanna do this the easy way, or the hard way?" Irma shivered with a smile. "Ooh, now that is how you sound like a badass." Cedric hissed as he grinded his teeth so much, it almost looked like they were about to chip, and while Wang was almost as angry, he remained calm enough to cast a large plum of dark blue smoke from his scepter that engulfed both him and Cedric before vanishing. "Guess they took the easy way. The easy way out, anyway," Alchemy commented as most of the heroes looked somewhat disappointed, save for Blanc, who just admired his gas mask. "Ooh, cool looking mask." Blanc put it on. How cool Blanc looked. However, nobody appeared to hear him. "You're sure they're gonna be okay?" Caleb asked as he looked to his unconscious friends and comrades inside the ice dome. Relax, this is the kind of stuff doctors use when performing surgery. They'll be fine, Captain Black assured. Yeah, but when they wake up, they'll be zombies again. Cornelia stated. Not if we smash that stupid horn. Jade said. That mage lady said if we destroy the horn of Hypnos, everyone will go back to normal. While everyone had smiles at this news, Heylin winced with a dreadful realization. Horn. Is it about this big? She gestured the appearance with her hands. And a goldy, shiny, like. Wait, Heylin, you've seen it? Jackie questioned as everyone turned their eyes on her. Yeah, I've seen it, Heylin nodded. And I also, might have, given it to, Principal Knickerbocker. Will smacked her forehead. That's why the marching band became trance marchers. You mean the band that was marching out of school, and into town, and they also probably had, the horn with them. Terani asked as it didn't take much for all the heroes to put two and two together to realize what that means. Bad day, Jackie muttered. Toru suddenly felt a vibration in his pocket and took out his cell phone before answering it. Hello, Sensei. Toru, I have devised protective Kai spell. Are Jackie and girls with you? Uncle asked on the other side of the line. Right here, Sensei. Toru answered as everyone looked toward the big sumo. Put them on phone. Uncle told him, prompting Toru to put the phone on speaker. Uncle, Jackie asked, we can all hear you. Immediately, Uncle began to recite a familiar chant. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. However, the way Uncle was chanting, it was in the same tone that the melody was in that the mage told them. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. As Uncle chanted, a green Kai wave echoed through the phone's speakers, hitting each of the heroes as Jackie, Will, Jade, Irma, Toru, Heylin, Cornelia, Terani, Caleb, Alchemy, Blanc, and even Captain Black were all surrounded by a green aura before it vanished as Uncle finished chanting. Kai spell will protect you from Horn's power. Uncle explained over the phone. Even if you hear Horn's sound, you will not become trance marcher. But Horn must be destroyed to break spell permanently. Then we better find that blow hard. Fast, Jade stated. It was really late in Heatherfield, and people everywhere were just minding their own business when they either heard or saw the trance marker Sheffield marching band marching and playing their instruments throughout the streets aimlessly through the city. However, once they heard the sound of the horn of Hypnos being played by the oblivious Martin, they also became trance marchers and joined the band. Within a matter of hours, it appeared that half the Heatherfield population had been zombified and marched aimlessly throughout the city. However, one group of the Section 13 agents that Captain Black had sent out to find the horn some time ago had spotted the growing army of trance marchers. The reason they weren't zombified was due to the fact that they each had earplugs to avoid becoming trance marchers themselves just in case the enemy forces found the horn before they did. One agent pulled out his communicator to inform his leader. Captain Black, sir, we have found the target. Copy, good work. Captain Black got off his communicator to address the Chan clan and witch girls. Agents have spotted the marching band, as well as most of the town, all heading to Sheffield. ETA to the school in 10 minutes. Of course, it's the marching band. Terani said in realization. They're following their normal practice routine. But if it's more than half the Heatherfield population, Daolan Wang and Cedric will have little trouble finding the horn with so many trance marchers heading to one location. Jackie said. Hang on, I think I have an idea. Caleb said. I'll explain it on the way, we gotta get to the school. As the group quickly made their way to the school's direction, they failed to notice Tarakudo appearing out of some graffiti on the wall of a nearby alleyway as he saw the heroes head off. Looks like I might just have my chance. As the massive herd of trance marchers made their way closer to the school, Cedric and Daolan Wang had saw where the horn of Hypnos was in the large group of people as Wang had erected a dark magic barrier to keep them from accidentally hearing the horn's sound becoming trance marchers themselves. Looks like we found our prize. Wang observed. As well as an army of trance marchers. Then let us seize both, and finally rid ourselves of those annoying pests. Cedric stated as he shifted back into his human form, while Wang waved his scepter, causing them both to vanish in a puff of dark smoke. Then suddenly, the evil duo reappeared directly behind Martin. Give us the horn, Cedric told the boy. Sorry sir, this is school property. Martin told them. And unless you got a signed notice, he was interrupted by a blast of dark magic from Wong to knock him down, allowing Wong to take the horn. Hey, what's the big? Wong then blew into the horn of Hypnos, aiming it directly at Martin to turn him into a trance marcher. Excellent. Now Wong, if you would, however, Daolon Wong turned the horn of Hypnos on Cedric and blew into it, turning the shapeshifter into a trance marcher as well. HMMP, you were outwitted by a passling of all things. The Dark Kai wizard told the zombified shapeshifter. This belongs in more capable hands. An idea soon came to Wong's mind. In fact, I'll use it on the Guardians, as well as Chan and his allies, before turning this entire city into an army of my own slaves. After which, I'll return to Meridian, with a few 100,000 trance marchers, to pull that foolish Phobos from his throne and take it for myself. He proclaimed with an evil laugh. Will, Irma, Lin, Cornelia, Terani, and Jade all flew through the skies, 5 of the girls in their guardian forms, while Jade still had the 3 talismans with her. She also carried Toru, which was quite easy thanks to the Ox talisman, as Will carried Jackie. It wasn't long before they arrived at the main gate of Sheffield, only to find the entire street, as well as front courtyard filled with trance marchers, with Daolon Wong standing on the balcony with the horn of Hypnos in his hands. Ah, young guardians, and Chan. Wong greeted the heroes upon seeing them. Welcome to my army. We're so thrilled to have you join us, literally. The Dark Kai wizard blew into the horn, the sound waves traveling through the air and hitting the group as they continued to hover in the air, however, nothing happened. Hey, you might want to take that in, it sounds like it can use a tune-up. Irma joked. What? Wong exclaimed in shock. But, how? He soon growled as he had an idea how this could have happened. Of course. That novice protected you with a Kai spell. No matter, if you will not be my slaves, you shall be the first casualties of war, by your own hometown. Marchers, kill them all. The trance marchers all turned towards the group of hovering heroes. Kill them all. Kill them all. Kill them all. The trance marchers marched closer, but the heroes found themselves most surprised by the ape prance of Cedric as he transformed into his massive serpent form and glared with his dull eyes. Kill them all, Cedric said robotically. The group hovered higher into the air to avoid being grabbed by Cedric and the other trance marchers. Did Wong just zap his buddy Cedric? Will asked in genuine surprise. Bad guy backstabbing. It was bound to happen eventually. Jade wasn't all that surprised. However, around the corner of the building, while Wong and the trance marchers appeared focused on the Guardians, Jackie, Jade, and Toru, they did not notice an invisible group of people consisting of Captain Black, Caleb, Alchemy, Blanc, and Uncle, all were out of sight thanks to the snake talisman. Looks all eyes on them. Captain Black noticed. And that spell thing worked. Alchemy said. We heard the horn but we're not zombies. Uncle's magic works every time. Uncle said proudly. Gloat later, we gotta break the spell and destroy the horn. Caleb said. I know the melody, I just have to play it so everyone can hear it. No problem. Alchemy said. Matt's band should be in the auditorium, and I can plug his guitar into the PA system in the office. Then leave the wizard and the horn to the rest of us. Captain Black said, referring to himself, Uncle, and Blanc. Bad wizard not know what hit him. Blanc said. Well, do not just stand there, get cracking. Uncle stated. Jackie, Jade, Toru, and Guardians cannot hold trance marchers forever. Alchemy and Caleb broke off from the group, allowing themselves to turn visible as she led him to the school's auditorium, while Uncle, Captain Black, and Blanc, who still remained invisible, worked their way inside the building toward the balcony. Meanwhile, the girls of Witch, along with Jade, while still carrying Toru and Jackie, hovered high enough into the air, so that they were out of reach of even Cedric, yet he, and many other trance marchers attempted to climb the building to get closer to them. So how long do we have to keep this up? Cornelia asked. If Caleb's plan works, hopefully not long. Jackie said. It's cool. Lin said. I mean, they can't keep climbing forever and we can go as high as we want. Hopefully not high enough that we have trouble breathing. Terani commented. Suddenly, Toru felt a chill down his spine. Oh no. Toru. Jade asked. What's wrong, big guy? Irma also asked. Have the willies, Toru responded, which was enough for the girls and Jackie to look at each other with dread. But that only happens when. Cornelia stuttered. When a certain king makes his appearance. The lord of all Oni suddenly appeared in the air behind them. Terra Kudo. They all screamed in fear as the king of the Shadoken unleashed a powerful psychic blast to knock all of them out of the sky, all save for Jade, whom he caught with his telekinetic power. Heilin acted quickly as she blew a column of air toward the ground to knock many of the trance marchers out of the way, while also cushioning the landing for her fellow guardians, Jackie, and Toru. Heilin however noticed someone was missing and gasped once she saw where their missing friend was. He's got Jade. Jackie was about to make his way toward the building and climb back up when two trance marchers grabbed his legs and pulled him back down. In little time, all the hundreds of trance marchers surrounded all of them. As the guardians attempted to fly out to escape and rescue Jade, they were quickly pulled back down as they were grabbed by their legs. Even Toru was pressed against the ground by the trance marcher Cedric. Jade, meanwhile, struggled in the invisible grip of Tarakudo. "Let me go, you floating head freak. You're a feisty one, aren't you?" Tarakudo mused. "Don't worry, this won't hurt a bit." He began to concentrate his powers on her, specifically at one point on her body, on her back left shoulder. Underneath her clothes, a familiar mark had soon carved itself magically onto her skin, causing her to grunt in pain. "Well, it might hurt a little bit," Tarakudo commented. Despite being surrounded and almost literally torn apart by the trance marchers, Will was able to pull herself free as she flew up into the air, straight towards the hovering enemy. "Let her go," Will shouted as she drew a certain vegetable and threw it right at Tarakudo's face. The second the onion made contact with Tarakudo's face, he felt a burning sensation in his eyes as he began to shed tears of green energy. "Ah, my eyes, my eyes," Tarakudo exclaimed in pain as he flew away, forcing him to drop the weakened Jade, whom Will was quick to catch. "Jade, are you okay?" she asked urgently as the younger girl's eyes opened somewhat weakly. "Yeah, didn't hurt a bit, thanks." Jade gave a smile. When fighting an Oni, never leave home without an onion. Will smiled. "Great, hopefully they'll keep all the zombies back." Jade got back to their current situation. Fortunately, she still had her 3 talismans as they flew back down to help their friends push back against the trance marchers. Caleb and Alchemy quickly ran into the school auditorium, which was completely vacant, save for Matt and his band. However, once they saw the two enter, they thought the party was about to start back up again. "Right on. It's starting to pick up," Matt said as Caleb hopped up on the stage. "Got a request, bro?" "Yeah, give your instrument," Caleb said as he took the guitar from Matt's hands, much to his surprise. "Sorry. We'll give it right back. Promise," Alchemy said as she and Caleb ran out of the auditorium, much to the band's confusion. Back down below, Daolan Wong watched with absolute joy as he saw Jackie, Toru, Jade, and the Guardians struggling against his trance marcher army. "How does it feel, fools?" Wong called to them. "To be literally torn apart by your own community. Come down here yourself and we'll show you," Cornelia challenged, only to get pulled back down by the trance marchers. The group of heroes found themselves literally cornered against the wall as the trance marcher Cedric loomed over them at the front of the army. "Finish them," Daolan Wong ordered. "Good evening, Heatherfield." Alchemy's voice ran through the school's PA system outside, much to the surprise of Wong, and the relief of the heroes as they knew what it meant. "Are you ready to rock?" Alchemy shouted into the PA system as if she was about to start a concert. "Let's rock, baby. Hit it." She pointed to Caleb, who already had the electric guitar plugged into the system. Caleb immediately strung the guitar and played the melody the mage had told him, which also had been recorded Jade and recited by Uncle multiple times, so much so he memorized it with little effort. Outside, the guitar's melody rang throughout the speakers, allowing it to reach all the trance marchers, and stopping their attack. Using this opportunity, Toru quickly grabbed the massive Cedric by his tail and threw him into a nearby alleyway. Best people didn't see a giant humanoid snake after waking up from their trance, which they all did 4 seconds later. Will, Irma, Heilin, Terani, and Cornelia had also turned back to normal for the same sort of reason as they all shared relieved smiles with Jackie, Jade, and Toru. Daolan Wong however was less than happy as he saw him lose control of his army. I will destroy them. However, he felt something missing from his hand and looked to see the horn had vanished. What? Where is? Yoo-hoo. He turned around to see Blanc, having just turned visible, standing on the balcony's railing. Blanc laughed as he held the horn of Hypnos in his hands before throwing it into the air, allowing Captain Black, now also visible, having arrived on the scene with Uncle by his side, brandish the dragon talisman and blast a stream of fire at the airborne horn of Hypnos, destroying it with one hit. No! Wong exclaimed, but was later blasted off the balcony by a Kai blast from Uncle's blowfish. The Kai wizard blew some smoke from his fish cowboy style before he shared a fist bump from both Captain Black and even Blanc. The spell having worn off, all the people awoke from their trances and cheered at the music that played through the PA system as if they were all at a rock concert. All except for Principal Knickerbocker, who was stuck on the building she attempted to climb earlier as a trance marcher. How did I get up here? She questioned in surprise as Jackie and Toru helped her down. A lot of people got carried away with the school dance fever. Terani quickly made up an excuse. Yeah, kinda like at rock concerts. Jade also added, you just gotta go with the flow. Knickerbocker seemed to buy it. So, I must be having fun. Oh, good. Everyone back to the dance. With the crisis averted, everyone gave a sigh of relief. Excellent work, girls. You all did well. Jackie told them all. Thanks Uncle Jackie. Hey Lin smiled. So, Will looked at her partially torn clothes. First date, how do I look? Like a badass. Jade complimented. Yeah, a total end of the world survivor style. Irma also complimented as the other girls laughed while Jackie and Toru simply smiled. Meanwhile, Cedric had just awoken from his own trance in the alleyway as he saw all the people celebrating outside on the street. He snarled upon remembering what had happened. Daolan Wang, that wretched wizard. I shall, however, Cedric's ranting was cut short as an invisible telekinetic force pulled him high into the air and away from the school. A similar force had grabbed onto Daolan Wang, who had just recovered from his fall into the school's courtyard, and he was pulled into the air as well. Thankfully, nobody noticed. Both Cedric and Daolan Wang crashed through the already broken ceiling of the warehouse, just in front of the still open portal, where Tarakudo had been waiting for them. However, neither appeared to notice the Oni King as the shapeshifter turned his rage toward the Dark Kai wizard. Wang. Cedric seized him by the throat and pinned him against the wall. You dare turn the horn of Hypnos against me. It was your incompetence that led to it being stolen in the first place. Wang exclaimed. Yet you just lost it now. Cedric shouted. I should snap your neck like a twig. Wang however aimed his scepter, already surging with dark magic at his face. Try it, and I shall curse you in ways you cannot imagine. Enough. Tarakudo exclaimed before using his telekinetic powers to blast them both to the wall. You are both at fault here. But it is not my place to punish you. That privilege belongs to Phobos. I'm sure he'll be very happy to learn how much you two have been backstabbing each other. Tarakudo picked them both up with his powers and literally threw them into the portal before flying in himself. Sheffield. All the students had arrived at the dance, which was now in full swing as Matt's band played song after song. A disco ball shined multiple lights all over the auditorium as everyone appeared to have a good time. Nigel played on bass guitar next to Matt as he spotted Terani and gave her a wink, causing her to smile and blush. Cornelia danced alongside Caleb as well, though she found his dance style to be less than appealing. Don't you dance in Meridian? What do you call this? Caleb said as he tried to dance to a different style, which appeared even less appealing than before, causing her to slap her hand against her forehead. Irma also appeared to be dancing, albeit comically against her will by Martin. Shake it, don't break it, mama. Martin exclaimed as he tried to twirl with Irma. Martin, bye-bye. Irma let go, causing Martin to spin out of control before he crashed at the table that Lin, Jade, and Alchemy hung out at, resulting in the three girls laughing. Don't worry champ, I'm sure you'll wear her down eventually. Jade joked. Yo, any sign of your girlfriend? Nigel asked Matt as he looked around as well, while still playing, and couldn't find any sign of the girl in question. After all the freed rebels had recovered from the hypnosis and anesthetic gas, they all returned to Meridian through the portal. Once the last of them walked through, Will stood alongside Jackie, Toru, Uncle, and Captain Black as she used the heart of Kandrakar to seal the portal in the warehouse. "Well, that's one less portal to worry about," she said. "Then go on and enjoy yourself at the dance, Will. You've earned it," Jackie told her with a smile and a pat on the back. "Thanks, Jackie." She smiled as she ran out of the building. "You know, I'd say you earned a break too, old friend," Captain Black told Jackie with a smile. "Come on, let me treat you all to a drink." "Oh, thank you, Augustus, but you know I don't drink alcohol," Jackie said. "Don't worry, they have soda too," Captain Black assured. "This place wouldn't happen to have sake, would it?" Toru asked with a hopeful smile, causing Captain Black and Jackie to chuckle. "Place better have tea. Uncle does not drink alcohol either," Uncle stated as the group of men left the building as well. Back at the auditorium, Will had just arrived and made it through the crowd when she spotted Matt. He saw her as well and smiled upon her arrival. As she walked toward the stage, Matt offered her a hand, which she accepted as he helped her up onto the stage before playing the next song. As Matt and his band played, he and Will both danced to the rhythm, and would be dancing all night long. Meridian, Phobos' throne room. Both Wong and Cedric yelled in pain as they were blasted with Phobos' magic power before sent skidding across the floor. "Why is it impossible for you two to work together?" Phobos exclaimed as Tarakudo hovered on his right side. "Your refusal to cooperate is one thing, but to sabotage each other is something else altogether." "My prince, Wong had turned the horn of Hypnos on me," Cedric exclaimed. "He would have directed thousands of trance marchers, including Chan and the Guardians, against you. You have no proof I would betray the prince," Wong argued. "I only used the horn on you because your incompetence has allowed our enemies to outwit us on numerous occasions." "Silence," Phobos shouted as he blasted them both once more. When his attack was done, both the shapeshifter and Dark Kai wizard laid on the ground, smoke coming from both their bodies. "What allows our enemies to succeed, is their ability to take advantage of our divided nature. You two are so busy fighting with each other, you don't have time to deal with the real threat. I do not care what sort of animosities lay between either of you, you will find a way to cooperate, otherwise I'll cast you both into the abyss of shadows. Do I make myself clear?" "Yes, my prince," Cedric hissed reluctantly. "Crystal clear," even Wong bowed. For now, he thought as he hid his impulse to strike back at Phobos, but he knew that he could not defeat the prince in a fight, at least not how he was now. "Get out of my sight," Phobos ordered, allowing Wong and Cedric to pick themselves up and leave the throne room. The Dark Prince gave an exhausted sigh as he sat back down in his throne. "My, that was quite the performance, Phobos," Tarakudo congratulated with a smile. "I almost believed you myself." Phobos revealed his own evil smile. "While I did put on a performance, I meant what I said. Their constant arguing grades on my patience. I may just throw those two into the abyss for some peace and quiet, alone." Tarakudo chuckled at that before Phobos spoke to him. "So, our true objective, was it completed?" "Yes. No one, not even the Guardians and Mr. Chan are aware of it," Tarakudo confirmed. "Good." Phobos smiled, yet still maintained a serious demeanor. But losing the horn of Hypnos could still be somewhat problematic, given how rare they are. "So, I am hoping that this girl is every bit as dark as you make her out to be. She certainly didn't give that impression when I first met her. Impulsive, yes, but not quite dark. Oh, trust me, my young friend. She has proven her worth before, and just as she was back then, she'll make a fine queen," Tarakudo commented with an evil chuckle. Heatherfield, Chan clan residence. Jade Chan slept deeply in her room, having exhausted herself at the dance. However, as she slept, she remained unaware of the symbol of the Shadoken that had been placed on her back left shoulder, or the dark influence that was slowly corrupting her from the inside as the symbol itself glowed ominously. And it's the end of part 11 of this What If. I hope you guys like it. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel.